Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video, and just a warning, it is 1:18 a.m. and I was bored, so I decided, you know what, might as well make some videos. So if I'm a little groggy or anything like that, I'm just gonna blame it on that. So yeah. Okay, let's refocus here. In this video, we're gonna be learning about list views, and that is this thing right here. So what is a list view? Well, obviously it's a cool type of widget where you can make a list out of. Alright, boring Bucky. Moving on to the next video. Wait just a second, Haas, because it's more than just a way to make something like a text list, like a grocery list or a list of your favorite movies. What you can also do with a list view, and you guys have used this on every single social networking app. If you ever use like Facebook or Instagram or Google Plus or even Twitter, you know how each of the tweets or each of everyone's posts is in a big, it's either like a feed or a stream or something, and you can just scroll down forever? Each of those items are list items. So here's mine, the New Boston app we're making right now. So here you see one post right here, and of course what you could do on this activity is you can just scroll down forever and ever and ever, and each of these posts is actually a list item. So yes, you can have a very simple list where you just have text like a grocery list, but you can also have lists of entire posts with pictures, text, embedded pictures, images. Very, very cool. So again, in this tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the real basics, the structure of how you create a list, and then in the next tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to create custom list items if you ever want to make like a social networking app or a news feed or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get started. What I did already is I created a blank project, just added one blank activity, nothing new. So the first thing I want to do is in my activity main, hop over to the source code view and get rid of that text view because I hate it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a list view in here, and again, remember I said if you want to do it with the design mode, just scroll down and drag one of these bad boys on there. But for the width, I'm just going to hit match parent, and for the height I'm also going to throw in match parent. And this is just because I want my list to pretty much take up the whole screen, since that's the only thing we're learning in this tutorial. So I don't need to do anything weird with it. I can just fill it to the size of the parent. And actually, the one other thing I want to do is, let me give myself a little more room here. So make sure your list view selected, and of course we're going to need a way to reference it through our code, so give it an ID. I'm just going to name mine Bucky's list view and hit enter. Now another thing I want to point out is whenever you add a list view to the screen, you're going to see these default list items. But this is just for pretty much whenever you're designing it, you can see, okay, there's going to be a list in here. Whenever you actually run your app, you're not going to see this, all this text and stuff. This is just for, designing, like I said. So actually, whenever you run your app, we're going to be adding all of the items manually through Java code. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So hop over to your main activity.java, and the first thing I need to do is import a bunch of stuff, but instead of you just watching me do it, I'm going to go ahead and copy it real quick. And I probably should mention this as well. If you want any of the source code, then of course it's all on my forum. So if you don't feel like, watching me or copying me import everything, then you can just go to my forum, grab the code, and paste it in. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So 1 second. Alrighty, so let me paste that in right there and tighten all of this stuff up. Alright, so the first thing I actually want to do is fix all of these errors. And for the action bar activity, this of course means that you want an action bar across the top of your app. I actually just want to inherit from activity because I'm not really worried about that action bar for this tutorial. This tutorial is going to be a very stripped down app just to demonstrate lists, like I said. So therefore we can delete these two override methods. So the only thing we have is onCreate. Essentially, whenever your activity gets created, what do you want to happen, and we're just gonna focus on the list stuff right now. So after your set content view, which pretty much sets your user's view to whatever this layout is, let's go ahead and add some code under here. So like I said, for the very first tutorial, before we get into making like any cool streams or anything like this, we're just going to make a very basic list of text items. So whenever we want a list of text items, what we can do is we can just make an array, because that's what lists are. And I'm just going to make mine of foods, but you can use like names, items, girls you want to date, whatever. I'm just going to throw like 5 or 6 in here. Bacon, ham. These are also going to be my kids' names whenever I have kids. Baby tuna, candy. Let me add like 2 more. I'm going to have a kid who's a bit of a chunker. His name is going to be Meatball. And I'm also going to have a kid named Potato. He's probably going to look like me. Alright. So again, once you have something that you can create a list of, go ahead to the next line of code, and now we need to understand one important concept. So, as I told you guys, a list can be multiple things. It can be just plain text, like we have right here. It can also be images. It can also be a combination of images and text. So these list items are kind of a weird thing. So what we need to do is we have a little trouble just taking a list of strings in Java and turning them directly into list items. So in order to do that, we need something called an adapter. Now this adapter is going to be responsible for the conversion of Java code to list items that your activity can use. So again, I'm going to show you guys how to make a real basic adapter right now just for text or strings, and that's this. If you go to list adapter, you can name it anything you want, Bucky's adapter, and you need to set this equal to